vonim shiru shiru Ato vonim shiru lamelech Ato vonim shiru 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 lamelech V'siferes mefoyo Ato vonim shiru shiru Ato vonim shiru lamelech Oy ato vonim shiru 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 lamelech V'siferes mefoyo Oy 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 v'ashrei avodo vodo Hamashmiyim b'koi shivchoy Ve'ato vonim shiru 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 lamelech Shiru shiru lamelech Oy vi ashrei avodo voyavodo Oy hamashmiyim b'kol shivchoy Ve'ato vonim shiru 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 lamelech Shiru lamelech Oy vi ashrei avodo
Shalom, shalom, Shabbat shalom, Shavua Tov. Welcome to Call Horeb, the sounds of Horeb. How you guys are doing today? Shabbat shalom, folks. Hope you guys are enjoying your Sabbath. Actually, it is over today evening, but at least you are enjoying your Mincha service or the other services if you are enjoying it, if you are there for the services. But anyways, it was a wonderful Sabbath, fantastic, celebrated beautifully, and enjoyed it. So hopefully you also do the same thing. And again, here at in my place, it's kind of a little bit on and off, a little bit drizzling, cloudy, sunshine, all mixed together. Pretty much it was a nice day, and thank God for that. Hope you also had a better weather and better climate at your place. So, let us unpack today Mark chapter 7. This is a huge chapter, a lot of spicy, and I don't know how I'm going to give everything, to you guys today. If you could able to observe this or watch this one very clearly and understand what I'm trying to say, definitely you will enjoy it. Otherwise, it's kind of a little bit difficult chapter because there's a lot of things are happening in this chapter. So please watch me carefully. Hope we'll knock this out. Let's unpack, unleash Mark chapter 7. The question is, the title of this is the one I put that like, did Jesus or the Jewish Pharisees followed the biblical law or the rabbinic law? How about Jesus? Because Jesus was accusing them if they're not following the biblical laws. How about Jesus? Did he follow the biblical law or rabbinic law? Let's unleash it, unpack it. Mark chapter 7. All right, let's go and read a couple of verses from Mark chapter 7 so that we can kickstart with that. So let's go and start Mark chapter 7, verse 1. Then came together unto him the Pharisees and certain of the scribes, which came from Jerusalem. And when they saw some of his disciples eat bread with the defiled, that is to say, with unwashed hands, they found fault. For the Pharisees and the Jews and all the Jews, except they wash the hands off, eat not, holding the tradition of the elders. And when they come from the market, except they wash, and they eat not. And many other things there be which they have received to hold, as the washing of cups and pots, brazen vessels, and of labels. Then the Pharisee scribes asked him, Why walk not bread with unwashed hands? He answered and said unto them, Well, hath Isaiah prophesied, that is basically Isaiah. It says it, well, hath Isaiah prophesied of you hypocrites, as it is written, This people honoureth me with their lips, but their heart is far from me. Howbeit in vain do they worship me, teaching for doctrines the commandments of men. For laying aside the commandment of God, ye hold the tradition of men, as the washing of pots and cups, and many other such things like ye do. And he said unto them, Full well ye reject the commandment of God, that ye may keep your own tradition. Let's stop there and just dissect this verse. Let's go back and see. As he said that, Jesus was condemning the Pharisees and the other people that they were not following the biblical law. They were totally into the man-made law, or probably rabbinic law. That's what I'm saying. See, the rabbinic laws, basically started after the temple was destroyed in the first time. So all these rabbinic laws came in. I mean, there was a little bit of good in that. Most of them, they are good. Why they were good? Because they were putting a fence around the original Torah or the law. But still they follow the law, but they put extra, or again, Jesus did several fencing against the biblical laws. I would definitely say so many things. But the same thing, rabbinic laws or certain things, there are some ritual procedures. They went ahead of the Torah, and they were doing it. That's what Jesus was condemning them, that you were not following the biblical laws, but they were following the biblical laws, including the rabbinic laws. But Jesus, what he did, let's open and see. So, for example, he talks about because Jesus' disciples were found, they were eating food without washing the food. And that was found to be a problem in the Jewish and the Pharisees, and they were asking questions why they were not washing their hands. In order to understand this this concept, you should see that in the Torah, what happens is basically the priests were not allowed to do any eating without washing their hands or anything. The priests were keenly, definitely been forced on that one, because even when a person offers an offering, maybe 2% of teruma, they call it, the 2% of his earnings. If he's giving an offering from the field, or from a lamb, from his herds or from his animals, if he's giving 2% of it to the priest, That's a law that he was giving, right? So even if the priest receives those offerings, he should not eat if he is impure in his ritual process. So if he has any ritual impurities, even though if he received the offerings, he should not be eating anything. So the most of the time, the laws were focused on the priests. But afterwards, after the temple destroyed, and when everything kind of mixed up, then it was imposed on the common public also. Common public were not expected to do washing of hands or washing of pots and vessels. It used to be there before, even if they're bringing some vessels, from the foreign vessels, from vessels from non-Jewish people, they need to wash the vessels completely thoroughly. This is the law, it isn't said. But sometimes after it came up to the common public, it is not only forced on the priests, and it came up to the common public, and common public also were expected to do certain washing thing. That's what Jesus was pointing it, that you guys were focusing on the rabbinic things, you guys are focusing on the manly man made things, but you were forgetting on what biblical law, what it says. Actually, he quotes about Isaiah prophecy, or Isaiah prophet, that he was condemning the Jewish people. Well, Isaiah wasn't condemning the Jewish people. He was just only mentioning what was happening on those days. What he was telling what exactly happening with the Jewish people. That's what Isaiah was telling. He wasn't condemning, or he wasn't accusing like Jesus was accusing, like the Pharisees. Let's go and read what Isaiah talks about in chapter 29:13 in Isaiah. Okay, let's see. Is it Isaiah? Yeah, Isaiah 29. And the words is 13. It says that, wherefore the Lord said, for as much as these people draw near me with their mouth, and with their lips do honor me, but have removed their heart far from me, and their fear toward me is taught by the precept of men. The same sentences, the same words Jesus was using when he was talking, or Mark is using. Basically, we do not know exactly Jesus used or Mark used. So basically, Jesus was telling that the same words. We'll read in Mark chapter 7 what Jesus was doing, telling. In that he said that exactly the same thing. He answered them in verse number 6. Well had Isaiah prophesied of you hypocrites, as it is written, this people honoreth me with their lips, but their heart is far from me. So that's what Jesus was telling, the same thing in Isaiah. Again, I'm telling to you guys one more time, I'm reminding you that none of the New Testament verses, or none of the New Testament chapters or books, or nothing, there is nothing new in that. Everything which was told in the Old Testament, or in the Tanakh, or in the Torah, was repeated back again in the New Testament. Even in the words of Jesus, all the time he quotes behind what Isaiah told, what prophecy Micah said, or Ezekiel said, or Jeremiah said. Every time it's been quoted, it's basically already it has been told or written already in the New Old Testament. So there is nothing new in the New Testament. I just want to let you know what Jesus, from where he was using the same words, what Isaiah prophesied to the Jewish people, the same thing Jesus was using here too. So let's get back to this chapter again. So what the basic idea is, so he was condemning the Pharisees people, and then also you should see in Matthew 23, Sadducees were the temple owners. They were maintaining temples. They don't follow the oral Torah. Sadducees, they don't follow the oral Torah, nothing, and they have the original, just follow the Torah, and that's what they do. So, but Jesus never told anything about Sadducees, you should follow Sadducees, but he was trying to tell about on the Pharisees, because Jesus was a Pharisee too. So, But what happened with Jesus? Let's open and see what's going on with Jesus. He condemns the people, he condemns the Pharisees and other people that you guys are not following the biblical Torah or the biblical law, but you're following only the Rabbinic Law. How about Jesus? What he did? Let's turn John chapter 10 verses 22 and John chapter 7 verses, I believe it's 27 or 37. 37. Let's open and see this one. Let's go to John chapter 10 verse 22. John chapter 7, 10, right? Okay, where is it? 7. Let's go first. John 7:37. Yeah, let's go this one. Okay, let's go first. John chapter 7 verses 37. It says that in the last day, that the great day of the feast, Jesus stood and cried, saying, if any man thirst, let him come unto me and drink. So Jesus was there on the spot celebrating this feast. Till the last date, he was there. That's what John 7:37 says. And the festival name, what they were doing is they were celebrating Rosh Hashanah Rabbah. That's what this is, the last day of the Sukkot. So Jesus was there on the Sukkot last day, Hashanah Rabbah, celebrating the Hashanah Rabbah, which is a rabbinic way of celebrating. It's not about the biblical thing, but still it coincides with that one, right? Jesus was there. Let us read John chapter 10:22. What that one says. Let's see, read John chapter 10:22. Let's see what Jesus was doing, because he was condemning those Jewish people and Pharisees, but Jesus himself attending these rabbinic festivals. John chapter 10 and 22. Wow. Wait a second. 10 and let's go. And that one says that, and it was at Jerusalem, the feast of the dedication, and it was winter. This is the Hashanah Rabbah festival that Jesus was there following the same rabbinic festivals. How come it's possible? On one side, he was condemning some people. On the other side, he himself was doing the same ritual procedures on the rabbinic festivals. Let's get back to Mark 7 and let's go and read that one. All right. In Mark 7:11, what he says, also Jesus quotes. Let's go back and read the chapter. Then it will be easy for us to get the things squared out. Where we start at 9, right? We start at 9. Okay, let's go on 10. We'll see. For Moses said, now Jesus is pulling out Moses. For Moses said, honor thy father and thy mother, and whoso curseth the father or mother, let him die on the death. But ye say, if man shall say to his father or mother, it is korban, that is to say a gift, by whatsoever or thou mightest be profited by me, he shall be free. And ye suffer him no more to do aught for his father or his mother, making the word of God of none effect through your tradition, which ye have delivered, and many such things do ye. So he is telling about an instant about the one of the law of Moses, which is we see that Exodus 10:22, which is honor thy parents. Is it 22:10? I believe is it Exodus 20:22. From Exodus 20:22, what Moses' law, honor thy parents. What is he telling? That if a person or if a man, he give a oath, or he takes an oath in the temple, saying that one he is going to give a korban for his father and mother, That means he has to give the korban. So the rabbis were forcing them, if you already made up your mind, if you already promised, if you have taken the oath that you're going to give the offerings before, for your parents and mother, for your parents, you must offer it. You should not use it, period. You should not use it, period. So that's what the Rabbinic law says. But on the other hand, biblically speaking, it is not right, because if a person offers, if a person takes a promise that saying that I'm going to offer a korban for my parents, so that offering, if the person is very poor, okay, basically, if he is poor, oh my goodness, yeah, if he is poor, and they could not able to offer the lamb, and there is only one, they have only one lamb, but they don't have anything to eat, he needs to feed his parents. In that case, never mind you break the law, never mind you break the korban. That was allowed already in the biblical law. That's what they were doing. That's how they were doing. But Jesus condemns them. You guys were not allowing to do without anything. You guys are telling he has to bring the goat or lamb or whatever he was offering, and he was promised to offer. He should not be using it anything. But the law says that if the person have nothing to feed his parents or anything, he can avoid that sacrifice and he can feed the lamb with the law. We can feed the parents with a lamb. That's what the Bible says. But Jesus was telling to these people something different way about the korban. Right. So what happened is, this part of giving to the parents is biblical, and it's not rabbinic. Okay, so even maybe exemption from this vow, it is happening in the biblical way. So Jesus was recapitulating their practices or against the word of God. He was always pointing, you guys are always violating the law. You are doing against the word of God. That's what he was accusing all the time against the Jewish people. But exactly, Jesus was also attending all the rabbinic festivals, rabbinic days, and he was in the temple doing all the rituals, and he was doing all the place. So the part of there are two parts of the oral law. This one part is that the enactment of the rabbinic enactments. That's the one part of the oral law is the rabbinic enactment. That means there are some enactments instituted by rabbis. Actually, it is good for Torah. As I said that before, rabbis were putting a fencing around the law. That is the rabbinic enactments. One of the things that when you're doing violation of the adultery, but they said we know that it is a law unlawful to do adultery, right? So that's a law. But rabbis went in, I said, they further built it up in a different way. They said that even if you're being with a woman in a separate room or private room, that itself not acceptable according to the law. That means you might fall into the pit. So that's what they're carefully deciding it. Don't be with a woman alone in any room. That's what they were, woman in the sense that out of, anyone not related to you, not your wife or anyone else. So that's what they're meaning. So rabbis went and put an, practical application a little bit. That is called the rabbinic enactments. That's what they were doing, in almost all the laws what they were practicing, right? For example, scribing on Sabbath day is violating the law because you should not be doing any work on Sabbath, right? But rabbis went and put in an extra thing that don't carry a pen with you. Because if you're going to carry a pen, you automatically go do some you'll scribble something, right? You don't have to do that one. So if you don't have a pen, you are not going to do that one. So they are putting a fence to the law, to the biblical law. They are not actually completely changing the law. But Jesus was accusing that you are not following the law. You are following something different. That's what Jesus was constantly accusing the Jewish people and the Pharisees. For example, one thing I'll tell you, there is a part that always we say an eye for an eye. This is a huge complaint about the Jewish people. How these people, oh brother, there is a tooth for a tooth or eye for an eye. That's not the way that Jesus taught. Jesus taught about the grace, love, and forgiveness and everything. So that's what the New Testament. In the Old Testament, it is eye for eye. Remember, it is not an eye for an eye. Literally, it's about any organ, an eye or nose or whatever it is. For an example, that's what the law says. What the law exactly says that if an eye for an eye means if anybody hurts or do something to anyone else's eye, basically he has to do almost like 5 things automatically. Not only the eye, if he damages any other organ in anyone else's body, he has to go through a 5 little process. What is this? Number 1, he has to pay for the value to the equal of eye or any other organ that he destroyed or he had damage to that one, to somebody else. He has to pay for the value of it, and then you have to pay for the doctor's bill or the value of the bill or medicinal bill, everything. You got to pay for it. Number 3, and also the loss of wages due to that. If the person is not going to, couldn't able to go to work, or if he had to stay for a certain amount of days, you got to pay for the wages, and also you have to pay for the pain that he was going through. You have to pay for the pain, and also you have to pay for that that embarrassment that these people go through. You got to pay for that. Listen, that when they say eye for an eye, because those days people were not given preferences to equally meeting the compensation of any damages done to someone else. That's what it means. It does not means literally, if you break a teeth, you go and take one more teeth of yours, or if you break if you make any damage to any organ or any eye, go and take your removed eye too. That's not the case. This is because it was not been meant. It has not been told correctly on those days. So we do not know exactly in the Jewish culture. Most of the people do not know that one. They blanketly, like the statement, they give blanket statement like, you know what, the Old Testament is all full of eye for an eye, tooth for a tooth. No, brother, that's not correct. No, basically, that's not it meant. That's why the oral Torah comes and helps us all the time when you read that oral Torah. So, this is how an eye for an eye is taken. Verses 14 and 20, they says that what affects you, either Jesus said this, or the Mark editorializes. That's why I kind of mentioned that. Whether let us read that Mark chapter 14:23. I think is 7 verses 14 to 23. So what Jesus is telling is, it's very suddenly Jesus is talking something totally different. It is really mind-blowing. Let's read that one. It says that, and when he had called all the people unto him, he said unto them, hearken unto me, every one of you, and understand. There is nothing from without a man that entering into him can defile him, but the things which come out of him, those are they that defileth the man. Any man have ears to hear, let him hear. And when he was entered into the house from people, his disciple asked him concerning a parable. Okay, let's stop there. Because what Jesus is trying to say is here, that whatever goes inside the your mouth, it's going to defile your thing, not anything else. So he tells it, nothing defiled. Oh, I'm sorry. He says, nothing from without a man that entering into him can defile him. So whatever you're eating or whatever you're putting inside, it's not going to defile a man. But the things which come out of him, those are that defile. So whatever you say the word, whatever it comes out of him, it's defileth the man. Can you remember this one? This is the same thing in some other place happened. Remember the Peter's case in Apostles, right? In Peter's case, what happens? You know, in Acts 10:14, Peter never assumed that all food was kosher. He was not eating all the just food like that. So when the blankets came and all these birds and everything was there, he was told, Peter, go and eat everything. So remember that Peter doesn't know that he could able to eat all those things because he thought that it would defile him, right? So he doesn't want to eat all those things. But what Jesus says here, before in Mark itself, anything goes inside never defiles a man. What it comes out of a man's mouth defileth him. Already Jesus told that, just go and eat it. It is already told he was told in, as he said that, again and again and repeating, anything in the New Testament is nothing new. Everything was taken from the Old Testament already. Jesus already told that you can eat. It is not a prophetical way of apostle Peter, like something came and you did. He should be knowing already. Jesus told about this one, right? So in Mark 7 chapter, verses from 14 to 23. All right, guys. So let's move on. So where is it? Okay, 10 feet, right? And also in Acts chapter 5, Gamaliel, the Apostle Paul's teacher, doesn't see followers of Jesus weren't violating any law. Students of Jesus are nothing wrong. If this moment of God, you can start. So what they're telling, Gamaliel was telling in Acts chapter 5. Can we go and read that one? Let's go and turn this one into Acts chapter 5 and read what's happening in Acts chapter 5. I never read. I read it. I'm going to read it right now. Let's see index and see Acts chapter 5. What Gamaliel says. Hopefully I get the words if I could possibly. Get the words. Where is that? One second. Okay. Just give me 1 second. I'm trying to. Verse 34, Acts chapter 5, it says that then stood there up one in the council, a Pharisee named Gamaliel, a doctor of the law, had in reputation among all the people, and commanded to put the apostles forth a little space, and said unto them, Ye men of Israel, take heed to yourself what ye intend to do as touching these men. For before these days rose up Theudas, boasting himself to be somebody, to whom a number of men, about 400, joined themselves, who was slain, and all, as many as obeyed him, were scattered and brought to naught. After this man rose up Judas of Galilee in the days of taxing, and drew away much people after him. He also perished, and all, even as many as obeyed him, were dispersed. And now I say unto you, refrain from these men, and let them alone. For if this counsel of or this work of men, it will come to naught. But if it be of God, you cannot overthrow it, lest haply ye be found even fight against God. So what basically is saying, if it God's will, definitely this movement will go, which is Christianity. If it is not God's will, it will not go. That's what Gamaliel was trying to tell. But what happened in those days? In those days, in the days of 200 years, whatever Jesus followers, the Christianity of Jesus followers, totally dispersed. Totally gone. That was the Christianity that Jesus established, completely scattered. And whatever the Christianity came after, it is not exactly what it was on the 1st century. That's what it is. So it was not there anymore. So it is that's by the year of 200 years, it's gone totally. So and let's see what the Bible, when we were talking about the whatever goes inside. I somehow I put this Gamaliel thing came in between. I just put it in. We were talking about the Peter who was trying, was eating those food. He doesn't know. He were not aware of eating all those things would not defile him, because Jesus already told in chapter Mark chapter 7. But Peter wasn't, sure of it, right? So basically, what here going is that if you think of this, Genesis 3:17, Adam and Eve are, they ate the fruit which defiled them, right? But what Jesus was telling, whatever you eat, it never defiles. Everything will be, see, basically there are some laws, that there are something that you should eat and you should not eat. But if you're going to eat it, it's going to defile. But Jesus said that everything goes inside you, it's not going to defile. How about Adam and Eve? They ate apple, they defiled, and the sin came through them, man, right? So in Isaiah 16, end times people will eating swine will be punished. Jesus said nothing can punish and anything can be eaten. So, but Isaiah 16:17, let's read Isaiah 16:17, what he talks about there. In Isaiah 16:17, let's go and read Isaiah 16:17. Let's go read Isaiah 6. Oh my goodness. Come on. Isaiah, let's read 16th chapter and 17th word. What it says. Uh-oh. Maybe I forgot. Okay. Wait a second. Maybe 1 second. Isaiah. Sometimes you mix up with the chapters and you kind of, that's it. You'll be like wandering here and there. You won't find it. I'm kind of stuck up here. 1 second, I missed the word I'm looking for. It's not exactly coming to me. That's why I'm trying to find out the word. It's not there. Oh my God. Okay. So anyway, in Isaiah also it talks about. I just messed up the words, were exactly, the end times people will be eating swine and will be punished. Whoever they eat the swines will be punished is the word that I messed up the word where it is. But what I'm saying is, in Isaiah chapter, it clearly says that if you're going to eat swine, you will be punished. But Jesus is telling here, no, you will not be punished. Anything goes inside, it's not going to be defiling you. Everything is I've taken out there because you can eat anything. That's what Jesus. This is about the ritual purity and impurities. That's what the whole drama in the Mark chapter 7. They're talking about the ritual impurities, ritual purities, and Jesus was completely focusing on them, completely telling the Jewish people, you guys are doing wrong, whereas they were not doing wrong because they were following rabbinic, but the rabbinic laws are basically, protecting all these original laws. That's how they were trying to exercise that one. So even so I don't want to go completely into this whole Mark chapter completely, because there's a lot to be covering on this one. If you can kind of basically understand how this has been going through, because disciples were eating bare hands, which was wrong or something. They're blaming on Jesus and disciples, and Jesus was accusing them, but Jesus himself was following all the rabbinic festivals and everything. So the total is the complete thing is a little bit totally away from so many things, because it's not easy to cover in one day all this the Mark chapter 7. Jesus told some parable for these people, and also Jesus went to one of the houses, then in the Tyre, and then he said everybody not to say about this. And they said so many stories about that. Probably Jesus went to his father's house. That was his father. He was so many things were going on there. So we don't have to go all those things. The thing about this in a nutshell about these laws, impurities and purities, they were talking about rabbinic laws and biblical laws. Jesus was condemning the Jewish people and the Pharisees that they were not following the biblical laws, but Jesus himself was following the rabbinic laws and attending all the festivals. Alright, God, this is a nutshell of Mark 7. Let's stop here, and we'll come back with you some other chapter next time. And until then, Shabbat Shalom, Shavua Tov. May God bless you. God be with you. Take care, guys, and enjoy your weekend. Let's meet next week. Bye-bye. Goodness, something's happening. All right, guys. Talk to you later. Take care. Bye-bye.